You just don't.
There are recognitions of certain things that happened in what you would call our history that are noted for their particular vibrational resonance, but we don't surround them with the kinds of rituals that you do. We simply experience that vibration and move forward.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to express that since we're talking about stories, I wanted to share with you how my dad would say that. He'd say,
All right.
I'd tell you a story. Because he likes pirate stuff, so he would say that. So I just wanted to share that with you. And my story actually starts a bit with my dad.
Yes.
We just saw the movie Thor.
Oh, all right.
And it was, I didn't really want to see it at first, but he's like, no, you really will love seeing this movie. You got to see it.
And did you?
I did, and I was exhilarated. And if you
Why?
guys, because I saw these different beings
Yes.
in the galaxy, other races. And I felt such a connection to them. And I wish I was there with them, acting
all
out
right.
the different...
Does that mean you're also going to go see the latest movie entertainment that also deals with other beings in the galaxy?
There's one that I do plan to go see. It's the...
Is it the color green?
Green Lantern,
all
yes.
Right.
And I did have a question about that.
Yes.
There's been talk that, as open contact becomes more open,
yes.
that society will start showing more of what other races look like. Is that right? Not right, but...
Do you mean, will your depictions in your science fiction stories become more accurately representative of some of the races that exist?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and does that movie reflect that?
Some, okay. Now, again, remember, anything you can imagine is real because you cannot imagine non-existence. But when I say some, I mean some that are relevant to anything that you could experience as being somewhat similar to your understanding of reality. All of them are real in their own context, but may not be relevant to your dimension of experience. But some actually are.
Okay, thank you. So when I was watching the movie Thor, I felt like I wanted to be there, and I was kind of meditating on that later on after the movie, and my inner guidance told me, because I was asking, well, why am I not there if I like it so much?
You are. You are not, but you are.
Right, and I received that. Well, that is part of you. That is you.
Yes, that's why you resonate to it.
Right, and you're on Earth to bring that here.
Yes.
As an emanation.
Yes.
So
you're the conduit. You're the valve through which you can bring that energy down to Earth and give off a vibration that will allow choices to be made that are in alignment with that frequency.
Yes, so I was very happy.
That's why you have these kinds of stories. That's why one of the most powerful storytelling tools you have is movies, because it really gives you an interactive experience. And what you call theme parks. It gives you an interactive experience of story. And thus it sinks in because you're actually viscerally there in the vibration and together, unified in many ways.
I feel that a lot. And
yes.
The next
now,
part of
we
the
wish
story,
to also point out a very interesting polarity happening at this time with respect to these kinds of stories that involve what you call extraterrestrial beings. Because in this moment right now, you actually have presented at the same time a completely polarized idea of this notion in your entertainment. You have the idea we have just discussed of a story that involves the idea of what you would call an interstellar peacekeeping corps of extraterrestrials, and at the same time you're also premiering
the Transformers movie.
That, and also another one called Falling Skies, where your world is dominated by extraterrestrials on your television sets. So you have presented the polarity for yourself so that you can explore and play with the idea of both sides simultaneously. You're bringing these creations closer and closer and closer to the center point so that you can really experience the balance of the dark and the light, the balance of the negative and the positive, and really decide what you prefer by exploring these stories so close to each other, on top of each other even. Good timing.
Yeah. Thank you for expanding on that. I remember the first time I heard you speak of the EIL, the Shalanaya.
Yes.
And all the senses in my being just perked up.
All right.
And I got goosebumps.
They are part of your story.
Yes,
you are part of theirs.
They are. And I have
They are one of the other hybrid races, the first one that will contact your world for those asking the question in their minds, what's the Shalanaya?
And I got goosebumps, and I never get goosebumps that I remember except for when I'm cold. And so I thought, I always heard people talk about getting goosebumps, but I've never got them. And then so when I got them, I was like, whoa.
Well, now I can't say that anymore.
I know, right? I can't say that anymore. And I was like, wow, that is true. And as I listened to it,
yes.
the goosebumps they were like waves. They just continued to like electrify me.
Yes.
And
you understand fundamentally what that effect is you call goosebumps?
I don't. No.
The idea is that they will be constrictions around the hair follicles that will allow the hair follicles to rise up and become more receptive antennas to that energy.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
Yes.
Thank you for expanding on that. And so as I continued to listen to that, I just closed my eyes and I got a sense as if I was there with them. Even now, like I feel like I can tap into them.
Yes.
And there's been certain occurrences and instances, one being all of the month of May, I saw these clouds over Mount Baldy, that's close to where I live, that I've never seen like that ever before. They look like the ones on Mount Shasta.
Yes.
You know, and they were over Mount Baldy, the range,
yes.
and the whole month of May. I haven't seen them June, but I just thought, wow, that is so amazing. I felt like that was their presence showing themselves.
Well, in a sense, it is more the idea of your collective consciousness creating symbolic representations of what you are becoming more and more aware of, and in a sense, preparing yourselves for something more solid. You're using your own weather, you're using your own clouds to create shapes to represent what you will actually ultimately see in physical form.
Okay.
You're preparing yourselves for contact with those forms. They're like placeholders.
And
because you are changing your weather.
Right. I was wondering if you could tell a bit of a story of maybe some of the things you know that the Shalanaya or the IL would like for us to know at this time where we're at on Earth, and how we can be more open to them.
Right.
And how
water is very important. The more you allow yourself to allow crystallization, purification, higher resonance energies to, in that sense, interact with the structure of the water that you drink, the more you will aid and assist in the clarification of your bodily systems and the increasing of the silicon in your systems to make you more receptive to our frequencies, more receptive to our communications, so that you may receive those communications and the beginning of dialogues that will lay down the foundations and lay down the paths of our eventual contact. Water is key.
Thank you.
That is the message from them.
I heard them. Thank you. I was wondering if you could share some knowledge on the different visuals of some of our extraterrestrial races, such as the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Sirians, and the Argarthians. Do they look similar?
Pleiadians, in that sense, are genetically connected to you. You are like long-lost cousins. So in that sense, they are very humaniform. The idea of the physical race in the star system of Sirius is that which has been described as somewhat amphibious, in that sense, somewhat salamanderish. The idea of the non-physical consciousness connected to Sirius is, of course, non-physical. The idea of Arcturus energy in that sense is also a non-physical consciousness that does not have form in the way you would understand it, but is represented by the idea of the glowing orange orbs that many of you have seen.
Oh, okay.
What you are referring to as a Garthan in that sense is actually known by another frequency altogether that is very ancient, and they do not share the idea of physical form as you know it. There are other races that you will encounter eventually in time that are not like your species at all. We have from time to time described some of these. We will not really go into the list right now, but will at what you call a future time focus on the idea of a transmission that describes many of these races.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the sharing of your story.
Thank you. I have some more, if that's okay. It's
Your
okay.
story has an epilogue.
Yes, yes.
Make it brief.
Okay. I have heard you speak of the span between 2010 and 2015 and the sensing of energy at that moment.
Yes, the splitting prism.
And can you speak a little more on the splitting prism and where the energy on Earth is at this sensing of the energy?
The trains are already leaving the station. The tracks are getting slightly farther and farther apart. Be on the train you wish to be on before you can never reach the other track.
Right.
That's all we will say for now.
Okay.
Take everything we have said in the transmission over the course of what you call these 3 days and apply it to decide and choose what story you will be, what track you will be on.
Thank you. I am.
All right. Thank you.